tell me you're no good. I'm brushing away, do you? The weight of you, of my shoulders. Done with my cigarette, and when all the smoke is clear, I'm brushing away, do you? The weight of you, the weight of you. Don't need a man.
Yo, what's everyone saying? How's everyone doing? Sunday season first as always. I don't know how that guy's so quick. What's up, Andy Scorpio? Santigi. And of course, Zetchi, Harry. The boys. Interesting. All right, guys. Well, why are we live today? We're just here to talk, chill. We'll talk about the match yesterday. We'll talk about football. Yeah. Sounds like a plan. Let me tweet out the stream on Twitter. All right. Ajax win the UCL. That would be a story, wouldn't it? That would be a story, wouldn't it? Do I go with so guys, I'm using like webcam for the stream, right? Because my camera stand is broken, so I've had to buy a new camera stand, and that's like on the way. So I'm using like webcam, like the old days. But I need to. I think right now it's like on 90 FOV, and I feel like a bit too zoomed out. Let's see. What's better? Is that too close? Which one's better? Oh, bloody hell, it's a bit close. Maybe this is alright. What's like? What is it normally? Is it? Is this norm? This is normal, right? Or I think this is normal. I can't seem to figure it out. I'm gonna stick with this though. This seems a bit more. Yeah, that seems a bit more normal. Alright. We played so bad yesterday. I don't think we played bad. I think we played much better than we have. Maybe not much, but I think we played better than we have in recent games. I think in possession, I think the first half, you saw a lot of similarities and you saw a lot of the same issues we've had as expected. Like it's a weird one. So let me. Trying to think. Yeah, like it's a weird one because I don't think there was ever in a 2-day span. There was never going to be a significant change in how the team played. We had like 2 training sessions. Like there was never going to be a significant sort of change in how we play. That was never going to happen. That was never realistic. What was interesting is that in that first half against Villarreal, we were better defensively than we have been, especially if you compare that first half to the first half against them last time round. Like, we were just much better. Like, we just didn't give them as many chances. Shout out to United Analytics. I think he had a tweet about it that I can get up. And what that told me, at least, is that there was an emphasis on being more solid defensively, which was needed. And I think that was always going to happen. Oh, that's not the right man. That was always going to happen in this game, just because we've been so bad defensively over the past couple of weeks anyway, that this, like, a better defensive performance was always going to come, right? So, like, that didn't surprise me. In that first game, they had 3 big chances, 7 shots on target, 14 shots inside of our box. Last night, 0 big chances, 2 shots on target, 4 shots inside our box. And as he said, it's not been great, but it definitely was better than what we've seen in the last couple times. Now, in possession is where it wasn't much different. Like, in possession, we were still the same team. Like, we still struggled to progress the ball. We still struggled in our build-up. We just didn't create much chances. I think a lot of people were excited to see, including myself, a lot of people were excited to see what it would look like with Martial, Ronaldo, Donny and Sancho all attacking with each other. And we barely got to see that because of how bad we were in getting the ball forward. And that's a problem we've had all season long. That's a problem we've had for a while now. And of course, when you have Fred and McTominay as your pivot, that's not going to help. When you have a Harry Maguire who seems a bit timid, in defence, that's never really going to help. When you have a Wan-Bissaka who, isn't maybe as confident in his passing ability, that's never going to help. There were a couple times, Tellers was all right at times in possession, but there were times as well when he was a bit sloppy, his passes were a bit overcooked, or, maybe he took the wrong dribble, so, it wasn't great, but that's sort of just been the theme of us for a while now. And I think it was always going to be improving at the defensive side and then focusing on what we do in possession. And so hopefully we can see some better sort of mechanics and some different things in that game on the weekend against Chelsea. I still highly doubt it, just because I don't think we can go to Chelsea and expect to do anything significant in possession. Just because of how good they are at controlling games out of possession. Like, I think it'd be very naive for us to go into that game trying to send anything special from the back. Like, that would be very naive. I think we would just be punished. From what I've seen from my eyes, Carrick is a huge part of why we play McFred. I hate seeing them start. It's so annoying. Oh my God, Donny played good in McSauce's position. It's simple as we should have signed a DM and never sent it back. So this is the thing as well that I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, I see a lot of people going on about like McFred starting in that game, and I understand, because I don't like seeing McFred either. We all know McFred's issues, but our issues as a team stretch far beyond McFred, and it's literally been proven that regardless of what pivot you play, there's always going to be some sort of deficiency. There's always going to be some sort of issue. Now, with Bruno not playing and Donny playing at the number 10 position, there's no other pivot that you can play, because you're not going to play Bruno in the pivot. Bruno was literally dropped, so that was never going to happen. And you're not playing Matic in that game, because constantly, all I hear ever is people constantly talking about how Matic is too tired and hasn't got the legs to play multiple games in a week. Plus, he wasn't good against Watford. So Matic was never going to play in this game. We don't have any other options to play in that midfield position. So I get you don't want to see McFred. Nobody does. But there literally isn't any other option in terms of someone to play there. So sitting here and just constantly complaining about my Fred, I don't think it really helps in terms of any conversation. I don't think it's very productive to sit here and go, just McFred. Like, it's like, yeah, I get it, it's not great, but because he didn't want to play Bruno in that game, understandably as well. I know Bruno did well when he came on, but he understandably didn't want to start the game with Bruno on the pitch. There's no other midfield pivot option he could have went with. So, as a Liverpool fan, I was very impressed with United yesterday. However, giving Carrick a long term is the wrong option in my opinion, and you made the same mistake with Oli. Yeah, but I don't think anybody should see Carrick as a long term option. I think anybody with half a brain should know that regardless of what Carrick does in this time in the job, it doesn't warrant it doesn't mean anything, because ultimately Carrick and his coaching staff should have gone with Oli, but they were fortunate that the club were in a position of weakness where we literally just didn't have anybody else to coach the team for this important game. So yeah, like I don't think anybody should be sitting, regardless of what Carrick could win the next. If let's say Carrick's in charge of the next 4 games, he could win the next 4 games. It doesn't mean anything. And I do see a world where the club do try to keep Carrick and that coach and staff. I think my biggest fear now is that we're going to get an interim coach in, because a lot of reports have suggested that we are still looking for an interim and not even the permanent. We're going to get an interim coach in. That interim coach is obviously going to come in, and it's going to be that interim coach plus the current coach and staff, and they're going to do well till the end of the season, and at the end of the season they will be appointed a job. That is my biggest fear right now. I think that's how it's probably going to play out. Hopefully I'm wrong, hopefully I'm proven wrong, but that's what it looks like it's probably going to be at this stage. Fred was class yesterday. Fred, Van der Beek pivot, Bruno in number 10. But this is another thing that people, I don't understand why people don't seem to get this. We constantly talk about Fred and McTominay not being bad, but they're just not good in that position, or they're playing out of position, which is true. They're both playing out of position. They're both being asked to do certain roles that don't suit their strengths whatsoever. But I can't understand how people sit here and go, Fred was amazing yesterday, let's play Fred in the pivot with Donny van der Beek, when the role Fred was playing today, he only had the freedom to sort of play that role because McTominay was playing as the holding midfielder in that double pivot, or in that midfield 3. So if now you play Fred and Donny van der Beek as the pivot, Fred's not going to have that freedom to be more aggressive and push up higher, because Donny is going to be the person who wants to push up higher. So again, you have a dysfunctional pivot. Look, what people don't understand right now at Manchester United, we have a bunch of midfielders, and whether it's unpopular to say this or not, I don't care, because it's the truth. No matter what pivot you put together, it is dysfunctional. It will not work. Some managers will be able to get something out of it. I agree. I'm sure there are managers out there that would be able to get something out of some combination. But there's a problem that you have and will face with every single possible midfield combination we have, whether that be Pogba and Matic, Pogba and Fred, Pogba and McTominay, McTominay and Fred, McTominay and Donny, regardless of who it is, there is some problem there. And you will just have a problem. That is the nature of our current midfield. That's why we've been crying out for us to recruit someone that gives us a bit more flexibility and a bit more options who can do more. McTominay offers nothing. McTominay offers nothing in the roles we're asking him to play, because he's not suited to that role. McTominay is a box-to-box midfielder who we're asking to be a number 6. Like we're asking him to be some sort of deep line playmaker who will sit there and break up play and super play. That's not who he is as a footballer. So of course you're not going to get much out of him. But at the very least, in that game, as much as McTominay wasn't that great yesterday, at the very least, him holding that position behind Fred gives Fred the freedom to be more, not erratic, but be more aggressive and push high and do his defending a bit higher up the pitch, right? Sometimes it's not always about what someone's doing sometimes it's simply just the space you occupy and just having that sort of insurance and that safety. It's the reason why Fred works well for Brazil, because he does a lot of his defending. He does that breaking up of the play a lot higher up the pitch, and he has like a Fabinho or Casemiro sitting a bit deeper. So it's that insurance. But you can't have Fred doing that when he's also next to somebody who wants sort of the impetus to get forward. Like you can't. You're going to have imbalance in your squad. That's where you get caught out in transition and you look bad, right? Are you the guy from Fortnite at 11-2K? I am the guy from Fortnite. There's a player in Fred. There's a player in most of the players at our team. There's not many players in our team who I think are just bad footballers. There's certain players who I think are bad at certain things, of course. But I think there's a player in almost everyone in our squad. McTominay's shite. He has no passing ability, no skills. His defensive work is shit too. See, now, I think a lot of people are, again, very... Like, I don't think a lot of people are fair when they have conversations about certain players. And McTominay is one of them, because McTominay is a player who is constantly being asked to do something that he's not good at, right? Like, you're gonna look shit being asked to do something that you're shit at. When we see McTominay be good and look like a good player, it's literally always been when he is given the freedom to just be a box-to-box player. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not saying he's an elite player by any means. I'm not saying he has the potential to be an elite player. But at the very least, when he's just tasked with being a box-to-box player, one that charges and drives towards the box, McTominay looks good. Like, he looks all right. He doesn't look bad. That's just facts. Like, you look at all the times when he's having somewhat good games, that's the reason. Like, we can sit here and go, oh, this is bad and his that is bad. Some of it is a bit exaggerated. I don't think he's particularly good or amazing at any particular technical attribute or skill. But to sit here and just go like he's straight up bad at everything is untrue. Like, that's not true. What's up, Solace FN? You wouldn't be a Premier League player if you didn't have anything about you. Like, I don't even want. I get that. I wouldn't even make that case, but like, it's not. This is why I always used to get pissed off at people who like just constantly hammer Fred, because it's like, it's not like Fred's never ever been good for us. Like, it's not like we've never seen these people. Like, it's not like we've never seen some of these people have good games or look like good footballers. And yeah, you get players who are inconsistent, but sometimes you look at it and you go, actually, he was good in this game because he was doing this and he was just constantly doing this, and that's where he looks good. And then it's like, you look at when they're bad and it's like, well, they're not doing the one thing that they're good at. I wonder why they look so bad. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to grasp. United fans don't respect it. A lot of United fans don't respect their players. I don't know where it comes from either, but it's crazy to me. Every good piece of play yesterday came through McTominay receiving from the back four. I want to say every, but one thing I did notice yesterday, so like, this is the thing as well, and I need to find a way to say this that people aren't going to take this out of context, but McTominay, in the role that he was being asked to do yesterday, in general, like, it wasn't great. Like, it was lackluster, it was mediocre, wasn't what you want. It's the reason why we say we want someone to do that position. But in that game yesterday, whenever there were times when McTominay would do the things in that role that you want someone to do, it worked out, right? And it, if anything, it just proves that we do need someone who consistently will be good. But like, you look at the Sancho goal. The Sancho goal, Fred presses, wins the ball back. McTominay, he passed it to McTominay. McTominay plays a brilliant line-breaking pass through to Ronaldo. Ronaldo, plays Rashford in, and Rashford plays it to Bruno. Bruno plays it to accidentally plays it to Sancho. Sancho shoots and scores, right? And you don't get that without Fred's great pressing. You don't get that without McTominay's brilliant ball. And it's like McTominay can't do that consistently. Like, that's one of his issues. He can't do that consistently. But it's like, when he does it, look where it got us, right? Look where it got us when he was able to do it. So it shows that we just need someone who can do that consistently. But, these people aren't completely useless, right? It's so unfair. And it's such a lazy analysis to me. And maybe it triggers me because my job is literally to analyze. And so like, when I see like bad analysis, it just triggers me because it's like, what? But yeah. He's never good. I think he offers nothing. But like, it's fact that that's not the case. So like, you can sit there and go like, oh, that's my opinion. Maybe if you frame that differently, right? If you say to me, like, because I've heard people come with different arguments, and I think there are arguments to be had, but the way you're framing that argument is like, not, and I'm not trying to like insult you or anything or like be rude or disrespectful to you, but like the way you're framing that is like really dumb. If you instead said, oh, look, McTominay in this current role, McTominay in the role he's being asked to play can't offer us anything, I'd say yeah. If you then said, oh, McTominay, even with what McTominay is supposedly good at, it's not enough for him to be anywhere near our team, and we have much better options in those positions and in those roles, I'd probably go as well, yeah, fair enough, right? But to just sit there and go, he offers nothing, like, that is factually like incorrect. Like that's just not true, innit? And it just makes it, to people who do know what they're talking about, it makes you look like you're a drone or an absolute AI. So yeah, that's what I'd say about that. Hi, I'm from Russia. Shout out to Russia. Please speak English in my chat though. If you don't speak English, we can't get along, So make sure, shout out to, I love Mother Russia. Martial offers more than Rashford, better link-up play, good decision-making, and can play with his back to goal. Rashford is very direct, but Martial can be as well. And okay, so this is another thing. What somebody can offer and how effective somebody is are two very important things to differentiate. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter what somebody can offer more, but it's not as important as how effective somebody is in what they can offer. You could offer everything. You could be the most complete player in the game, but if you're not actually effective really at anything, I don't care what you can offer. If you can be more effective in my team and in my system and in the way I want to play, then I'd rather play you. And I agree. I do believe Martial has more to offer as a footballer than Marcus Rashford. But he just hasn't been more effective than Rashford for a long time. And so, it's always going to be hard. I was really excited to see Martial in that team yesterday, just because I wanted to see, the interplay between him, Sancho. Because I remember when he did play with Sancho, they did play off each other quite well. And I wanted to see that as well with Donny, how that would work. It's a shame that we really didn't see that much of it, because it was like we were doing this weird thing, swapping between, like, where Ronaldo and Martial were sort of interchanging and swapping. But yeah, like he there were a couple of times as well where I did feel like he was let down by his teammates. So there were a couple moves that, obviously people forget this. I've watched the game back like 2 or 3 times, by the way. But there were a couple moves where Martial made the right decision, but like a team, it would cost him. Like, there were a couple times when Telles like lost the ball when Martial made like a really good move, and you could see it sort of turning into something, right? And like obviously as a player, that's just really frustrating because it's almost like there's not much you could do. You did what you had to do, but you know, a teammate let you down, for example. So it happens. I hope to see. I'd love to see what somebody coming in would do with Martial, what they'd make of him as a player. Where am I from? I'm from London. Yo, what's up, Outset? I'm a huge fan of Rashford, but the amount of times his indecision really annoys me. I see why people say Rashford is better on form, but I think with a better manager, they'll prefer Martial. It really just depends on what they want and who does that better. How I'm doing good. I'm doing good, thank you. Do you know why United bought Sancho? We bought Sancho because we wanted some sort of attacking threat off the right, I presume. He's one of the best sort of young attacking players in world football. Yeah, just it makes sense, really. So they can put crosses in and speed. And see that's not true. But I think this is what I mean. Like, a lot of people have misconceptions about what players are. Sancho isn't some speed merchant. Like, Sancho isn't, you know, like a Rashford or a Dan James, where they're like these really quick players that like are constantly running in behind. Like, that's not who he is as a footballer. Even the whole crossing thing, like Sancho showed in the past 2 games that like he can put really good crosses in, and like that's gonna be a threat. But even then, like, that's not his game either. Like, he's not this like just running cross merchant. That's not what he is. That is incredibly underselling him as a player. That's not where he thrived as a player for Dortmund or for Man City's youth academy, whatever you want to look at. Like, that's just not, crossing and running is not what defines him as a player at all. Do you see Greenwood getting back into the team with Sancho on the right? Long term, yeah, but in terms of the short term, like in the next couple of games, no. Especially with Carrick in charge, nah, I don't think so. What's up, Ben Hickers? What's up, Dan? Does anyone miss Ollie? Nah, not me, bro. I don't miss Ollie. I hope Ollie's good, though. I hope he enjoyed that game. Hope he's spending some time with his family. All right. What's people saying? What's people? What are people talking about? You watching the Ajax game? I don't even know what time any of the games start today. I don't even know what time all the games start today. I've not even been paying attention to all that. I always love when people tell me like what games to watch, because it's like, ultimately, guys, I'm just gonna watch whatever the hell game I want to watch. So what? Ajax versus Besiktas at 5:45. Inter versus Shakhtar. Atletico versus AC Milan at 8. Club Brugge versus Leipzig. Liverpool versus Porto. Man City versus PSG. Real Madrid versus Sheriff. Sporting versus Dortmund. So for the 5 o'clock games, Inter, the Ajax match, I don't know what their groups look like, because I don't know what's more interesting. I know Ajax are good in their group. Like, I know Ajax are basically through. So if you want to watch some good football, why not watch Ajax? I don't know what Shakhtar's looking like in their group. And for the 8 o'clock games, yeah, I think Man City versus PSG is the game to watch. Atletico versus AC could be interesting as well, because I don't think AC have been doing too well in their group, even though they've been doing well in the Serie A. I think we have a Porto fan in chat, so I'm sure he'll tell you to watch Porto versus Liverpool. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Let's see if Sheriff can do another masterclass against. Let's see if Sheriff can do another masterclass against Real Madrid. That'll be interesting. But nah, PSG versus Man City is definitely the game to watch tonight, guys. That's what I'll be watching. I did see Poch, like the whole Poch signing United shirt things.
I left him.
I did see that. I don't know what to think of it yet, but I did see that. All the reports we're getting are just really sort of confusing, I feel like. It's just not clear enough, you know? It's not like clear enough what's actually going on. Oh my God, I saw this clip, guys. Did you guys see this?
So what is this about?
Do you think there's a chance? Would you speak to the club?
Talking as a principal, I would love to have somebody who comes in now, puts the pressure on the players, a new voice, get them out there performing without making massive changes in style or systems or something that the next one, the real one, the one they really want there, has to come in and then start over again.
If you took over, what would you do?
First of all, I'd speak to players about how important it is to play for Man United and how privileged they are.
See, like,
and then
this is the funny thing, yeah. Like, when ex-players talk about this, yeah, like, as a United fan, I understand that there is an element of truth to this. Like, it is very important that you understand how important it is to play for Manchester United. But I'm pretty sure like that was like the blueprint of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager. Like, the blueprint of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was constantly emphasizing how important it is to play for Manchester United. So, like, I hear that. Like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that's actually really going to do much. Maybe coming from a specific voice, that could be effective. Like, it's definitely going to be more effective hearing how important it is to play from United from Sir Alex Ferguson than it is from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for example. And maybe in Schmeichel's case, it works into his favour, but I don't know. I think that approach is like, if that's going to be like the first thing you do, I don't know about that.
I'd work on the defending, not conceding goals.
So you'd be a defensive
that's
manager?
important.
I would not be a defensive manager, but you cannot concede the number of goals that we're doing at the moment. And I think...
And that actually is important. That's good, right? Any manager, regardless of what manager it is, whoever comes into this job needs to understand that they have to teach this team how to control games out of possession, right? The best teams in world football are teams who are, you know, elite in basically all phases of the game. In possession, out of possession, from set pieces, in transition, from attack to defense, from defense to attack. We are awful out of possession. We don't have the ability to control games out of possession the way a Chelsea does, or a Man City does, or a Liverpool does. And it's why we've been leaking goals, right? Like, we just out of possession, we've not been good enough. Obviously, there's clearly been an emphasis on it in training, which is why I think we were a bit better out of possession in the game yesterday compared to other games. Even though it still wasn't great, it was a tiny bit better. But whoever comes in, that has to be like the first thing they emphasize. We have to become a harder team to play against. Right now, it's too easy for other teams to play against us, right? Becoming much stronger out of possession is so important.
I think anyone that goes in there would start with that. You know, you got to take small steps. You cannot just jump in and say, now we're going to play pressing game and everyone's got to press right from... You can't do that. You got to start somewhere. And the first thing is you need to give confidence to everyone in the team that if I take this chance, it's not going to end up in a goal the other end. And at the moment, that is kind of happened.
Do you think Ronaldo would listen to a goalkeeper?
I think Ronaldo would definitely listen to a goalkeeper. You know, I think he's screaming for that one. You know, bring him in. No, I'm not saying that, but I just like the idea of if it's an interim, get somebody who knows the club. Get somebody who's known by the club as well. Get someone like Steve Bruce, that would be fantastic. Or get
someone like who? They get someone like who?
Knows the club. Get somebody who's known by the club as well. Somebody who knows the club. I'm not saying that, but I just like the idea of if it's an interim, get somebody who knows the club. Get somebody who's known by the club as well. Get someone like Steve Bruce, that would be...
Jesus Christ. We will never be free. My people, we will never be free. I love Schmeichel so much, but this is not it, man. It's not it. It's not it, because we literally had Mr. I know the club. Knowing the club is not gonna solve our issues right now. We just had the guy that knows the club. We just had that guy. Like, and this is the problem I have with, like, a lot of the ex-players, as much as, like, they bring joy to my heart in terms of, you know, the memories they've created and whatever. Like, it's way too easy for them to just mash up the narrative, because I'm sure there'll be people, yeah, I'm sure there'll be people who actually, like, listen to Schmeichel say this and be like, yeah, you know what, he's right, you know, you need someone that, you know, knows the club. Steve Bruce is not the guy. He's not the guy, right? It's funny because he literally just talked about the first thing you need to do being implementing a defensive structure. Did you see what Steve Bruce did to Newcastle? Rafa Benitez had one of the best defensive structures in the Premier League or in English football at Newcastle. Steve Bruce walks in and they become one of the worst defensive teams about. So you've instantly just contradicted yourself, for one. And where's like the critical thinking here? Like, okay, so we just got rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, somebody who very much understood the club, knew what it was about, emphasized the importance of playing for this club. He was awful. It didn't work out. We got rid of him. Let's bring in an interim. What should we look for in an interim? Somebody who knows the club and emphasizes how important it is playing for the club. Well, you know what? You should just call Ollie back. Like, honestly, just call Ollie back. If we're gonna get Steve Bruce, you might as well just call Ollie back in it and tell him to run it back at this stage. Like, come on, bro.
Fantastic. Or get the next guy in now and then start working from now.
See, at least he finished off right. That's important.
And then start working from now.
That's important. Get in forget bun the interim. Just get the guy in now and work with that guy. But oh my goodness, get Steve Bruce. Wow, we will never be free, my people. We will never be free, honestly. Man said that's a City player and him talking. That's jokes, man. Bring in Poch now. Whoever it is gonna be, just bring them in now, man. Just get them in. That's the important thing. I don't think when it comes to like a certain list of people, like I've seen there's like a list of potential interims now that we're looking at. Some of the names on that list I'm not too sure about. And I'd have to educate myself on more, but when it comes to like the likes of Poch, etc., like it seems like the Poch deal, I think there was a report actually. So like a lot of the whole Poch deal seems to have been very contingent on Zidane going to PSG. Like I've seen like PSG people talking about how like they can't wait, like they're getting Zidane, that, you know, there's been contract talks already. And this report from AS suggests otherwise. Zidane is blocking the Pochettino Man United operation. PSG have not been able to convince Zidane at this time because he does not like the idea of joining mid-season. Zidane appreciates the interest, but it's complicated. Now, from my understanding, from seeing PSG fans, etc., talk, the whole foundation of this deal was reliant on PSG getting Zidane. And that's why they would be okay with letting Poch just walk right now. So if they aren't in line to get Zidane, the Poch thing ain't happening now, at least. It could happen at the end of the season. And so it becomes interesting, right? Because a lot of the reports that we've had since this have suggested that United are just looking for an interim. Whether that be Lucien Favre, whether that be, you know, I don't know, Rudy Garcia, whoever it is, right? And this goes back to what I said earlier on in the stream, so if you weren't here, I'll repeat it. My big fear now is that we're going to bring in an interim. The interim person is going to come, maybe they'll have 1 or 2 staff members, but minimal amount of staff. It's going to be the interim plus Carrick, Phelan, all of these brothers. The interim's going to go to the end of the season. The interim is going to get good results, right? And I say this with a fear, but the interim will get good results, and then bam, we offer them the job in the summer because they've been good. Plus, they were able to keep the staff. And so, if somebody was to come in and do good with this current staff, it is obviously a lot cheaper for United, and so they wouldn't have to sack a bunch of people and hire a bunch of people. And that is now becoming my fear, that we are, like, it's just going to be a continuation basically, but with somebody else. And some people would argue, hey, look, if the person comes in and they're actually able to do good and you guys become a good team, why does it matter? And maybe fair enough, maybe I'm being too harsh, but I don't think I am. I think the whole coaching setup's got to go with Oli, especially considering a lot of the reports we got about players not being too keen on a lot of the methods / a lot of the personnel in the coaching staff. Have I watched Fabrizio's new YouTube video? I have not. Oh, Romano just posted.
But what's going on? To appoint Pochettino right now, during the season, in November, is complicated. It's super complicated, and Manchester United know about it because Paris Saint-Germain, as of now, have still no intention to allow Pochettino to leave the club. Hello guys, from Fabrizio Romano, and welcome back on my channel. Guys, it's time to talk about what's going on with Mauricio Pochettino and his potential job with Manchester United, what is the position of Paris Saint-Germain. So what's really going on with the manager of PSG and Man United? Let's talk about it.
PSG's cutthroat, heavily aiming at winning the Champions League with Mbappe leaving. This is their best shot. Yeah, but at the same time, we know they want to keep Mbappe, and as much as I think there's an element of truth to that, like I do think PSG are like they're okay to let go of their manager, whoever, mid-season. Like we've seen that before. But where you're trying to convince Mbappe to stay, one, Zidane very much helps that, and two, you need continuity, right? Let's say let's say Poch goes and they don't have someone lined up instantly like they have planned with Zidane. You know, that lack of stability and whatnot, especially going into January, it doesn't help you if you're trying to keep the likes of Mbappe, etc.
And so, guys,
and it doesn't help in terms of actually trying to win, you know, the Champions League, you know.
And they're working on this new manager situation, and this 100% confirmed, as already said a few days ago, after saying that Zinedine Zidane is not interested in this job right now, that Manchester United are thinking of Mauricio Pochettino as the most appreciated manager to start the new project of Manchester United. Into the board, they love his style, his football ideas, his kind of relationship with the board. So he's super appreciated on many points, and this is why they see him as the perfect one to be the next phase of Manchester United project. But what's going on? To appoint Pochettino right now, during the season, in November, is complicated. It's super complicated, and Manchester United know about it because Paris Saint-Germain, as of now, have still no intention to allow Pochettino to leave the club. So there's to be Pochettino to push for this solution, or Man United to pay a really important compensation to change the situation. But it's going to be super complicated also because Paris Saint-Germain would need a new manager. And Zinedine Zidane, of course, is the main option, but at the moment it's not easy, this domino, with Pochettino with United and Zidane to PSG. The only way, as I said, is Pochettino himself to push in this direction. But in public, as in private, Mauricio Pochettino told Paris Saint-Germain that he's happy with the club, he's happy with the team. We know that the situation is not exactly like this. There have been problems in this case between Pochettino and PSG in the past months, also during the summer. Now the situation is improving, and this is why Pochettino is saying in public that he's happy with Paris Saint-Germain. But guys, the only man who can change the situation is Mauricio Pochettino himself, pushing with PSG. But as of now, this is not the case, and this is why for Man United to appoint Pochettino is super complicated. So the other option they have is to go with another manager, so to try another way, or to go with an interim manager, and this is what they're thinking to do, and wait maybe for Pochettino in the coming months or at the end of the season. So these are the two possibilities for Man United. This is why Man United are meeting with many potential interim managers. They had a meeting with Ernesto Valverde, former Barcelona manager, but at the moment, there is still nothing advanced with Valverde.
Who's holding these meetings? Is it John Murtough? Because that's also another thing that was always my biggest problem with like what happens after Oli. Who's holding these meetings? Who actually is deciding who the next manager of Manchester United is? Whether that be interim or actual permanent manager. Like, who's making that decision? Because when I look at the list of people who in theory would be involved in making that decision, I don't trust any of them, right? Like, I'm guessing it's Murtough holding these meetings, but I don't know. Murtaugh's probably the most like trustworthy person of all the people. Like, I trust Murtough more than I trust, you know, Joel Glazer or Ed Woodward or Richard Arnold. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It definitely shouldn't be Sir Alex Ferguson. It most definitely shouldn't be Sir Alex Ferguson. Fletcher, this shouldn't be Fletcher either. Fletcher's part of the coaching stuff. Wait, guys, have you? Look, I've never seen a technical director who one wears a training kit, lays out cones on the pitch, and like Fletcher's not a technical director. Fletcher is a coach. I don't know why they keep telling us that Fletcher is like the technical director. They gotta shut up, man. I've never seen a technical director do the things that Darren Fletcher does. But do you know who I have seen do the things Darren Fletcher does? A coach. Darren Fletcher's a coach, man. He is not a technical director. You can't tell me otherwise. And I don't care if his job description says technical director. He is a coach. Are you going to watch the PSG games today? I am. When I say Saf, he's only competent one, but I agree with you. It shouldn't be. So it just shouldn't be Sir Alex Ferguson should not be anywhere near any decision making that's going on at the club now. Like, I love Sir Alex Ferguson, but he should not be near any sort of decision making that is going on at the club. Like, it just shouldn't be. For a multitude of reasons. Like, it really just shouldn't be. According to The Athletic, Rangnick is a potential candidate with John Murtough, United football director, a huge admirer of the former Leipzig coach. Okay, so I've seen that report came out like a couple of days ago, right? The thing that people don't understand about Rangnick, and I don't know where it is, I'll try to find it maybe, but Ralf Rangnick doesn't want to be just an interim manager. Like, I think people have a misunderstanding of what Ralf Rangnick has like evolved into now. Ralf Rangnick doesn't even want to be a director of football. Like, when I see people going like he wants to be, Rangnick doesn't even want to be a director of football. What Rangnick wants, he wants to be like the chairman. Like, he wants to, what Ed Woodward's job is at United, that's what Rangnick wants to be. So there's no way that like he would just come in to be the interim. I'm pretty sure there was also a report that when Chelsea sacked Lampard, they tried to get Rangnick as an interim and he said no, like he doesn't want to be an interim, right? And for people going, okay, so give him the interim job and then promise him that, and then give him the director's job when he when the season ends. There is no way, guys, just think about this for a second, right? There is no way that John Murtough is going to be handling interviews for somebody who is eventually going to take his job. Like, just think about how crazy that sounds, by the way. So John Murtough is going to interview Rangnick to be the interim manager and eventually be the man to just take his job as the director. Like that's just the craziest, stupidest shit I've ever heard. It's not gonna happen. Murtough, unless Rangnick is coming in to be above Murtough, and in that case, Murtough wouldn't, whether Murtough admires him or not, shouldn't flip him matter. No, it's just not gonna happen. Like, Rangnick would want to come in and want to be the chairman, and it looks like that's gonna be Richard Arnold when Woodward leaves. And there's some reports suggesting Woodward ain't even leaving, so who knows what's gonna happen. But we're not getting Rangnick as an interim coach. Like, I would be not even surprised. Surprised isn't even the word. Like, what is even? There's no word that I think actually captures the emotion. But like, let's say surprised and times that by like 100 if Rangnick was just to come in as interim, especially since he's currently in a job. I think a lot of people don't know this. Rangnick's not a free agent. He's not just there for us to get him, by the way, guys. He's in a job. Like, Rangnick is in a job, and he just started that job in summer. Like, it's not like he's just a free agent unattached to any team. We can just go get him. He's in a job right now. So to convince him to leave his job to come just to be the interim for a couple months, it doesn't even make sense. Like, it makes zero sense whatsoever. I feel like Woodward's going to stay forever. Yeah, a part of me fears that. Yo, Kanju, you know, the other day I saw one of your montages on YouTube, bro. Keep it up, man. You've been grinding. You've been grinding for a while now. I appreciate that. Unpopular opinion, I'd take Keane as Inter. Yeah, that opinion should stay unpopular forever, because that would be like that might be worse than hiring Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Actually, no, okay, maybe not worse, but that would be one of the worst things like ever. I don't think people understand. So I get like Roy Keane has like the persona of like being this guy that's gonna, you know, he would walk in and he'd slap the players into shape and everything. One, I think a lot of people don't realize that like a lot of modern footballers, whether you like it or not, a lot of modern footballers just don't respond well to that. Like, it's just the truth. Like, we see it now. It's why that type of manager and that type of personality is dying out in football, because a lot of people just don't respond to it anymore. Two, Roy Keane is literally a championship level manager. Like, and that's come from his own mouth. He did an interview with Gary Neville on The Overlap where he literally talked about how he had some meetings with championship teams. And I'm pretty sure he's been rejected by some championship teams. Why on earth would we want to bring him in as the interim manager when there are teams in the championship that don't want him as their manager? Like, that would be awful. We would play we would play football equally as bad as what we play now, and none of that would change, and it would be terrible. Like, it would be awful. Like, it would be so bad, and I can't stress that enough. Like, it would be just, it'd make me sick. I'd feel sick if that was to happen. Keane is a championship level manager. I love Roy Keane. That's the thing. I feel bad because the way I've just said it, it's like I'm slagging off Roy Keane, like I don't like him or something. I love Roy Keane. You know, give me a prime Roy Keane to put in our midfield now. I'd love it. But as a manager, no. Stay far away. Far away. Where am I from? I'm from Southeast London. My parents are from Ghana and Nigeria, so. Of all the managers we're linked to, who is on top of that list for me? We're linked to a lot of managers. But top of that list for me probably would be a Ten Hag. Ten Hag or Poch probably is top of that list for me. Maybe I quite like Lucien Favre, so maybe him as well would be high up on that list. But pardon me, it's weird because right now we're in a phase, or we're in a stage where we're linked to a lot of people, but not a lot of people are actually realistic. So like we're linked to Ten Hag, but as far as I'm concerned, Ten Hag is not actually an option until summer at the very least. So like even me saying Ten Hag is kind of like it's meaningless because he's not actually an option until summer. In terms of people who actually seem to be options, like actually it seems realistic we could get them, I would have said Poch, but after watching this video, I don't even know if Poch is anymore. Like, is Poch actually a realistic option right now? I'm not sure. Like, so of all the actual realistic options, I really don't even know. I need to like, we got to figure out who it is that we're actually linked to.
They're talking with many potential managers, so it's not decided yet. And Michael Carrick had a win.
Bro, be honest, do you think we will ever be the best club in England like we used to be, bro? Being United fan and stuff like that. I'm going to say something that might hurt a lot of United fans. And as a United fan, trust me, it hurts me as well. But if you went back to the 70s and told like Liverpool fans that like they weren't gonna like win shit for like the next like 30 odd years, you would look crazy, right? Like you just would look crazy. And in a similar way, if you went to 2013 and said, yo, United aren't gonna win anything for like the next 20 plus years, like you'd look crazy. But I think it's very likely this year. Like I don't see us, unless there's significant change in the structure of our club, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. I just don't think we're going to be able to compete with the like Man Cities and Liverpools and Chelseas of the world. Like I don't see it happening. On a short-term basis, yeah, I'm sure we can have 1 or 2 seasons here or there where we are competing, right? But like in terms of consistently just being like one of those top teams that is guaranteed to challenge every year, like it's like a given now that City will just challenge every year. Same with like Liverpool and Chelsea. Like it's just like a given they're going to challenge every year. Like that's the narrative. And I think we're a long way away from being that still, purely just because of the structure of our club. So yeah, hold on tight, guys. It's going to be a long way, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit naive, but like, I don't know. Like I'll support my team, whatever, man. You know what I mean? Like I still enjoy watching my team, and like maybe it's just because like I don't know. I'm used to like supporting things that like are like bad. Like I remember when I first got into basketball and I started supporting the Lakers, it was like when Kobe Bryant was retiring. So like we sucked for like 5 or 6 years, and like I just I mean you sort of get through it because you have that hope that it gets better, and of course it got better for us, right? We get LeBron, and we win the championship, and we get AD and blah blah blah. So like it's cool, but like I've taken this for a couple years now. Like we've taken this for the past like 8 or 9 years now, man. Like I can take another 9 more. Like I don't want to take it for another 9 more, but like what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, man. I can get through it. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, innit? I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's just a hard reality, man.
At the moment, guys, is super difficult, has always been super difficult, so it's never been close, also in the past days. And for Man United,
Lopetegui looks good. He does. Lopetegui is a good manager. I would definitely take him at United.
Not easy to change.
Guys, go check out my video on Lopetegui. I don't think we're very linked to him anymore, but
is going to continue also in the coming days. And so, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments.
You're a Sixers fan, so you get exactly, man. You know, you guys, bro, you guys went through Sam Hinkie and the whole trust our process tanking rubbish. So you get what I mean, man.
Let me know.
At the end of the day, like you support your team. Win, it's a bit of a cliche, but it's like win, lose or draw. You support your team, man. That's just how it is. And I always support United, regardless of whether we're good or not. He already turned on the job. There's a quote of him calling it ridiculous. Bloody yeah. I think a lot of people, I can't remember who I saw someone on Twitter say this. I think it was a brother called Siyash. Shout out to Siyash. A lot of people were like getting pissed off at the managers who were like getting mad about being asked about United. But you need to look at it from their perspective. Imagine being a manager, right? And nobody from Manchester United has contacted you. Like nobody has contacted you from Manchester United. and you're in a press conference for your match against whatever team, and you get this like just annoying reporter going, yeah, you know, you've been linked to Manchester United. Is that a job you consider taking? It's like, I'd be like, what the shut up. Yeah, I mean, like, if you think about it from their perspective, like, it's understandable. I don't think they're being disrespectful to United. I just think they feel disrespected because it's like, what are you talking about? Because from their perspective, nobody from Manchester United has contacted them. So, like, it's not even like a real thing, you know? We should go for Brendan Rodgers. He overachieved with Leicester. Do you know what's so funny? Sorry, you saying overachieve, yeah, has made me like think of something, right? That I saw on Twitter the other day that genuinely like brought not rage, but like it triggered me so much, guys, right? I saw a brother who doesn't like Pochettino, right? It was like one of the dumbest arguments I've ever heard. So this brother doesn't like Pochettino, and what he says is he goes, it was like two separate things, right? He goes, like, yeah, I understand, right? Like, Poch is like, you know, people say Poch, you know, made that Tottenham team good or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But I don't like Poch because he bottled the Champions League final with the best Tottenham team they've had in ages. So he's obviously a bottler. And I'm like, you just explained how you understand that they were only a good team because he made them that, like, they're the best Spurs team in ages because he made them the best Spurs team in ages. It's not like he just walked into that Spurs team and then just didn't win. He made them the best Spurs team in ages, and you acknowledge that, but you still say that you don't like him because he couldn't make that Spurs team win. It's like it was the most like stupid thing ever. Don't get me wrong. If your argument is you don't like Poch because he bought the Champions League final, cool. That's cool. But don't go, oh, it was the best Spurs team ever and he bottled it with them. It's like, yeah, it's the best Spurs team ever because he made them that, mate. Like, not just like, it's not like they were just the best team ever. He walked in and then they didn't win it. It was like, yeah, they were considered that because he did that. Like, oh, some people, man, are just, like, it's so, like, their thought processes are just so, like, flawed and don't actually make sense. And it's like, oh man, I was reading it, just like, what is going on upstairs, geezer? Like, what is going on upstairs? Yo, appreciate you hanging out, Chris, man. Have a good day. Have a good day, bro. Conte win the Premier League in 22-23. Exactly, which is why I think Brendan Rodgers will be so good for us. The reason why I've told people that like I don't mind going with Rodgers or Pochettino, because I do think, in theory, when you look at those two managers and what they've dealt with in the past, like, in theory, they should be able to raise the ceiling of this team over, like, that. And let's say the level of being a Premier League winning team is, like, here. In theory, with the resources and everything that those two managers will have available to them, in theory, the ceilings should be above that line that is good enough to be a Premier League winning manager. And so, give those two time and you hope it works out. And I think it probably could work out. But who knows, man? Who knows? You'll never know till you actually try. What's your question? I don't get why people doesn't want Rodgers. I think he's very impressive. He's very meticulous. Every player gets told exactly what to do. Our squad needs to so much. Yeah, I think we're just suffering from it's almost what do people say, like Ollie tax? I don't know. It's just like almost anything is better than Ollie, and so, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not actually hard. Like, I mean, and anything's better than Ollie at this stage, but anything being better than Ollie doesn't make it good enough for us to commit to it long term. Right? So that's always something to think about. Give it to Giggsy. No shot. No. If we wait until summer in Ten Hag, I will be moving mad on match day. Reminds me of Pep's footballing philosophy, because he very much learned under Pep because he was a reserves manager for Bayern. So he learned a lot from Pep. And that's why when he went to Ajax, he obviously stuck with the Ajax philosophy, but he implemented certain aspects of things he learned from Pep in Germany and adapted it a bit. And that's where his philosophy essentially comes from. That's the thing with Ten Hag. Look, Ten Hag, I think, is good. And Ten Hag is one of my favourite managers in world football right now. But he's definitely become overhyped. And just because I'm not saying he's bad, but he has become overhyped. And the reason why I know he's become overhyped is because when I see people talk about Ten Hag, a lot of these people, they can't even, you know when someone is knowledgeable about something, especially in football, you can tell when someone's knowledgeable about something when they can, at the very least, acknowledge strengths and weaknesses. Whereas a lot of the people I see talking about Ten Hag, they can't talk about his weaknesses because they don't know any weaknesses, because they only know about Ten Hag because they've only heard people talking good about Ten Hag, right? So a lot of the time I see people talking about Ten Hag versus Pochettino on Twitter, and people go, oh, I don't like Pochettino because of this, this, and this, but they never have anything to say about Ten Hag. And it's like, let's be frank, Ten Hag's great, but he's not a perfect manager, right? If Ten Hag was the best manager in world football and everything he did was perfect, he wouldn't be at Ajax right now. That's just facts. He wouldn't be at Ajax, right? So I think people need to start being a bit more honest to where it could go wrong with Ten Hag, because Ten Hag would be a risk. I think it'd be a good risk, and I think of a lot of the options that we're linked to, you could argue he'd be, you could argue he has the highest ceiling. I think he probably does have the highest ceiling of anybody we're linked to, but it's a risk, right? Because you have somebody who, for one, when it comes to his personality, there was always questions around that. A lot of people don't know that when he actually went to Ajax, a lot of Ajax fans didn't think he had the personality to manage Ajax. They didn't think he'd be able to handle the Ajax dressing room. Obviously, he's proved people wrong in that sense because he's done a good job. But Ajax doesn't have big stars. Ajax is, you know what I mean? Ajax, I love Ajax, right? Great club, great players, great, philosophy, whatever, but they're not a team with big stars. So the fact that people question his ability to manage that should make people go, oh, could he actually deal with Ronaldo and the likes of Pogba's and Bruno's or whatever? Could he? That would be a question mark, right? Also, you have somebody who at Ajax, he's been very successful, very, very successful in probably not the best, but in one of the best structures in world football, right? As a manager, there's might be no better place to manage than Ajax, right? Where you literally have one of the best directors of football, so one of the best CEOs, the fans are amazing. Everything's so perfect there. And he's been able to thrive there because all he has to worry about is coaching, and he's a brilliant coach. So all he has to focus on is coaching, right? What happens when you take Ten Hag and put him in a dysfunctional system and setup like the Manchester United setup? Because that above the manager, our club is dysfunctional, right? That we know this, right? That's clear. So we don't know what Ten Hag looks like in said dysfunctional, structure. We don't know. We don't know if he'd be able to deal with that and be able to get on with his job appropriately, right? And there's other people in world football who have this. Even with Graham Potter, right? I was listening to, I can't remember who it was, but there was somebody who obviously covers Brighton, and they talked about that as well with Graham Potter, where they said, yeah, Graham Potter's been great so far at Brighton. I love him, he's great. But if he was to get that next move, if he's not going to move with the people and the structure that he has right now at Brighton, there could be issues there. How would he handle that, right? There is definitely a difference there with managers where the structure above a manager is very important. And right now, the structure at Man United, there's no guarantees that Ten Hag would be able to come in and deal with that. You know what I mean? And so, who knows? Who knows what happens in that sense? Did I get raided or something? What's going on? What's these people putting emojis? What's all this hype? What's going on here? I'll take Zidane in a heartbeat, but I feel he's just waiting for the France job now. Yeah, I think Zidane would have been a good option. Obviously, this is very much, hindsight, blah, blah, blah. But I think the best option, genuinely, I think the best option was Conte, and we fumbled it. And only because in Conte, like, I don't think there is any other manager in football who is more like a win now. Like, in terms of like a win now manager, pardon me, I don't know if there's any other manager in world football that is as win now. Obviously, you'd argue Zidane is like a very much a win now manager, but I think Conte like exasperates win now. And the thing with Conte is that people go, oh, you know, it's only going to be like a 2-3 year cycle thing, right? Like, it's not going to be longer than that. Like, that's okay. We have Ronaldo who ideally is going to be here for like 2, 3, maybe 4 years, right? So having a manager who is literally just going to win now for the next like 3-4 years, when you have Ronaldo, a star that literally requires that you win now for the next 3-4 years, the timeline adds up and it matches up. Like, the timeline is pretty all right. And I think that's probably the direction we probably should have went in, but obviously we missed out on that boat. So yeah, it happens. What's up, Levin? Can you get me a shout out from Resub? I can't do that. Me and Resub hate each other. We actually beef. We don't like each other at all, so I can't do that. What school did I go secondary? I went to 3 different secondary schools. I went to a school called Archbishop Tennyson in year 7. That's in Kenneton. I went to a school called Trinity School in Erith. And I went to a school called Haberdashers Crayford Academy in Crayford. My channel points road's gone? I think so. But don't worry, keep stacking up your points. Eventually, Sutton. Archbishop in Croydon? No, not the Croydon one. The one in Kenneton. I know there is a Croydon one, but I didn't go to the Croydon one. I didn't go to the Croydon one. You can't gain them? Oh, okay, I know why. Don't worry. You should be able... Next time you come to the stream, it should work. Don't worry. Who is my favourite player? I don't know. I feel like my favourite player is Sancho. Not... I don't know why, but the way I felt... Because I don't ever think about it. People always ask me, like, who's your favourite player? And I can never really, like, have a good answer in it. But the way I felt after Sancho scored yesterday, I don't think I felt that way in a long time, you know? Like, I don't even want to sound all like emotional or anything, but I ain't felt that way in a long time. So Sancho, like, even if I don't want it to be, like, Sancho must just be my favourite player, because I've not felt that way in a long time. You know what I mean? Like, I've never felt so happy for someone, but no, I like a lot of people. I like a lot of players. A lot of the players I like are players who are from South London as well. You know what I mean? Because, you know, it's just relatable kind of thing. But I like a load of different players. Is Martial finished? No. I like Martial, man. I wish it would have went differently in Martial, but I think it's probably better for him that he moves on from United. I'd love to see Martial in a different team, in a different league even as well. Because I feel like he's the kind of guy he'll score like 30 goals in a season, and like people will be like, wow, that guy was at Man United, what happened? Like, he's that kind of guy, you know? I could see that happening. Score prediction, Liverpool versus Porto. I hate when people ask me for score predictions, because I don't spend enough time thinking about score predictions. I expect Liverpool to win that game, of course, but scoreline, maybe 2-0. I'll go 2-0. Why can't you sub? Because I'm not an affiliate right now on Twitch. Or they're taking Zidane because of his tactical flexibility. Yeah, and that's something Zidane doesn't get a lot of credit for. Like, Zidane doesn't get enough credit. Like, this is what I mean. This is what, like, certain people, it's frustrating. A lot of people talk about managers, but a lot of these people who will talk about managers, they don't actually know about the managers they're talking about, man. Like, one thing that Zidane is really good at is his in-game management, his ability to tactically change things within a game to, you know, his team's advantage is brilliant. It's something that actually Ten Hag isn't known for, right? So for all of you Ten Hag lovers, you know, I'm giving you another point here just in case, right? I'm a Ten Hag lover as well, by the way, so I'm not hating on you, but I'm just saying that Ten Hag typically isn't known for like good in-game management. Shout out to Flex and Ajax. They were talking today, and I saw Ajax talking about how like it's almost like he has this one game plan, right? Like he has this one game plan, and if it doesn't go to that, if that's not working, you know, he's quite limited in that sense. Wait, weren't you partnered? No, I was not partnered, but hopefully I'll be partnered at some stage, right? Hopefully I'll be partnered at some stage. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds, guys? If you could take any manager from any other team other than Klopp and Pep and Tuchel, who would it be? Ooh, that's a good question. Any manager from any other team? Ooh, that's a really good question. I like that. Sort of just like who do I think is like what, like the fourth best manager? Wow, why have I not? He said any manager that isn't Pep, Klopp or Tuchel, so it can't be one of them. It's funny because I think I probably would take Conte in it. Like, I don't know. I feel like I would take Conte. I watched a lot of Inter last season, and I was really impressed by Inter because they're quite flexible, and I think people don't give, you know, Conte enough credit for that. And it's funny because it's like this guy was just available for us to go out and get, but if it wasn't Conte, maybe I'd go. I don't know, man. There's so many great managers in world football, but a lot of them probably, one problem that I think is arise with like Manchester United and our fan base is if the person we get in is like not known, like they could be a good manager, but if they're not known, instantly you get like divide in it. Like you just get, oh, sorry, I forgot, my bad, not Conte, Nagelsmann. How could I forget? Yeah, Nagelsmann, sorry. Easily Nagelsmann. Yeah, it would be Nagelsmann easily. I wouldn't. Hansi Flick? Nah, it wouldn't be Hansi Flick with me. I'd take Nagelsmann easily. Hansi Flick is a really good manager though, but I'd easily take Nagelsmann. That's my bad. But after Nagelsmann, it'd be Nagelsmann, then Conte, then I'd take Hansi Flick maybe. Simeone's really good as well. Simeone is a really good manager as well. Spalletti or Nagelsmann, we want to talk to. Spalletti's really impressed me so far this season. I think like the big thing with like a manager with Spalletti is the fact that Spalletti's been around for so long that like it does make me wonder like why he's not necessarily gotten that shot at like a big team outside of Europe, right? Because he's managed like the bigger teams in Italy. Like he managed Inter, and it was all right there. He's obviously managed a bunch of teams in Italy. He's doing a really good job with Napoli now. But like, I wonder why he's not had that shot, right? At Roma, I think he did well at Roma. I remember there being like issues, I think, with like Totti at Roma potentially. But Spalletti's a good manager, and he's doing really good at Napoli. But Spalletti's an example of a manager who I think is like a really good manager, but I wouldn't pick them to come to Manchester United. Like, Spalletti's a really good manager, but I wouldn't pick him to come to Manchester United. Nagelsmann is a really good manager, and I would pick him to come to Manchester United. Die-hard Italian purists, never wanted to move out of Italy. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Do I watch La Liga? Not as much as I want to. I try to watch football from all leagues. So, like, in order of what I probably watch, I think I watch the Prem the most, then Serie A, then Bundesliga, then League One. I don't know where to watch La Liga. I'm pretty sure I can only watch La Liga on like illegal websites. I'm pretty sure. There's like nowhere to legally watch La Liga. Unless I'm wrong. If there is somewhere I can legally watch La Liga, let me know, guys, in chat. And you might be going, why? I just use Total Sports. I can't be asked for them Total Sports websites and that, guys. I'm sorry. I hate to sound bougie in it because I used to use them all the time. And I still do use them for like, you know, watching certain basketball matches and stuff. But Like I just get so triggered, like when the quality's messed up and like it's constantly freezing, and like I just get triggered, man. I just get so triggered. ESPN FC Plus, is that the place to watch La Liga? Oh god, oh god. He's like Allegri, sells wine in Italy. Yeah, fair enough. There are managers like that. There are managers that just never want to leave wherever they're from. His Goal. Someone recommended me His Goal before. I might have to try it. I'll try it out sometime. Who would I rather have at United, Pep or Klopp? I'd rather have Klopp, but I really like Pep as well. I think they're both exceptional managers. But personally, because I think at that level, realistically, at that level, it's just like a matter of preference in terms of like the way they play football. And I just like Klopp's like gegenpressing to me is just really fascinating. And a lot of like German football philosophy is really interesting to me. That's why like I was always like a really big fan of Rangnick. And like a lot of the guys who have come through that sort of like Red Bull structure. But yeah, I don't think it. Look, no disrespect again, and I hate to. I you know, people eventually are gonna start calling me like snobby and like an elitist or something, right? But the truth is, and I'm not saying this, I'm sure I respect a lot of you guys in chat. I think are more intelligent people. You know, a lot of you guys are more intelligent people in chat, I like to think, right? But the people that aren't here, guys, right? So we're like the smart ones, but the people that aren't here, right? One thing that I can guarantee you, like I know this to be fact, if you were to replace the players on the pitch, like if you were to get a game and replace the players on the pitch with animated models that had no faces, nothing, but like they had no numbers, no shirts, so you don't know who's who, but you know the game plays out the way it actually did. Most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a Klopp team and a Pep team. They just wouldn't. They might think they would, but they just wouldn't. And I know this is fact because there was actually a study done on this, and the study was done with men's football and women's football. And a lot of people couldn't tell the difference between men and women's football. So you're not going to be able to tell the difference between Klopp and Pep's teams. Like, you just wouldn't be, right? A lot of people just wouldn't be. The majority of people just wouldn't, right? And so why does that matter, Levin? Like, why is that important? Because at that stage, right, ultimately it doesn't matter. Both managers, right, if given the time to get a team that fits their system perfectly, and that team plays that system perfectly, both managers are entertaining to watch. Both managers can get big results, right? But it's like football is more than that. So at that stage, like that's why I always tell people like it doesn't matter. Like, when people are like, oh, like Ten Hag or Poch, that's why like I sometimes I say to people like ultimately I don't really care. Like whoever comes in, as long as there's like a plan and I can see the future with them, I'll support them, and like I'm cool with that. But yeah. I was very impressed with Barca last night. Of course, not the result, but the build-up phase, the pressing, the wing play. They have some amazing young midfield and attacking talent. Their defenses. I couldn't watch the Barca match because I was working on the United stand at the time. I had it on, but obviously like it was on the side, so I couldn't properly pay attention. But I saw a couple of the chances in that game. It's weird. I'm trying to like remember some chances that like I saw while working. It's weird. I remember specifically like a chance of I remember the Dembele's cross into De Jong, which was like really interesting. Seeing Dembele, it just made me think like what Dembele's future is in this team. I'm pretty sure early in the game, like Demir had a really nice chance, and like Barca had chances to win that game. I did see the chance that they had. Was it Seferovic? Hopefully I said his name right. The absolute sitter that he missed. I did see that, but I'll definitely make time to watch this Barca team. I'm interested to see what Xavi does with it. Chelsea look great this season. Yeah, Chelsea are just something else, man. Christian Romero injured for a month. Oh, that's not good. That's really bad for Spurs, actually. Klopp fits his system to the players. Pep is his system. That's not particularly true. Like, that's not particularly true. They both have a system and an idea of how they want to play, and they both will get players who fit that. I think Klopp, where people, I don't think you're the only person that thinks that. I think that's become almost like a narrative, but I think it's only a narrative just because it's like, it's clearer. A lot of the time it's like clearer when Klopp makes like adaptations to his system. But a lot of people don't realize, like, Man City adjust their system quite a bit. Like, they will make plenty of adjustments. The difference is that there's never adjustments in the principles. And that's the same with Pep as well. Like, with the best managers, like, there's never adjustments in terms of the actual principles. But, of course, you will get, like, tactical adjustments. Like you always get sort of tactical adjustments. But that's not true. Even if you look at City year on year, like, if you look at City since Pep's come in, the system's constantly changed. The principles have remained the same, but the system has constantly changed. Like, you look at last year, that was the first year really that he started to, you know, make a lot of use of inverted wing backs, right? Last season. And that's where Cancelo had like a brilliant season, right? Like, obviously he had done it a bit before, but last season there was a real emphasis on it, right? Like, there was a change in system there. So both managers changed their systems. So this idea that like Pep doesn't, or it's like, or it's just not really true. You reckon Lingard will go back to West Ham? It seems like he will, but I don't know what's going to happen with that, because Lingard going opened up space for like Benrahma to really shine at West Ham, and he has shined. So like, I just wonder what would happen there, but I'm sure they'll be fine. And I think going back to West Ham would be great for him. You know, the West Ham fans love him. Like, when I went to watch United versus West Ham early in the season, the West Ham fans like only spoke positively of Lingard. Like, they absolutely love him. So yeah. I did see that, Black man. Like, a lot of these guys, and a lot of them inspire each other. Like, you can actually see where Pep and Klopp like inspire each other and the way the teams play, which is always really fun. But yeah. Why can't you sub? Because I'm not an affiliate right now on Twitch. I'm not an affiliate right now. But we'll see what happens. What's up though, bro? We're supposed to play 2K, but I don't know. I had like an event, right? I had an event where like they sent me bare equipment like to use for the event, and so what I did is I moved I changed up my whole setup, and I didn't plug my PS5 in. Like, I didn't set up my PS5 because I had so much stuff that I was like, I'm not planning on playing PS5 anytime soon. It's going to be inconvenient to add it. But now, obviously, the event's done and I've packed up all their stuff, so I do have my PS5 set up. But I've not played NBA in time now, so we'll see, innit? I'm definitely down to play. The only current United player that is good is Greenwood. Well, that's just not true. Is there a chance that Carrick finishes the season? Yes, there is a chance. I know you don't want to hear it, and I don't want to hear it either, but there probably is a chance. How highly do you rate Ahmad? Think he has to... you don't want to hear me talking about Ahmad. I love that guy. I cannot wait to see that guy play against young boys because he better play in that game because it means nothing. But I love Ahmad so much, man. Honestly. Huge fan of him. Think he's got acres of potential. Just want to see him play more first team football. Why does Greenwood not play in the 9 role when he looks like he could do the job better than... It's funny because I wanted to see Greenwood play in the 9 role, and I think if we hadn't signed Ronaldo, we would have seen more of that from Greenwood. But obviously with Ronaldo, you know, he's got to find space in the team somewhere, and it's not going to be at number 9 realistically, so probably going to be off the right. But yeah, I was looking forward to seeing Ronaldo. I mean, to seeing Greenwood playing up front more this season. But, you know, you can turn down Ronaldo, but you probably would be ill-advised to. And Ronaldo's scored so many important goals for us this season, so is what it is. But we'll see it. Greenwood's still really young. We'll see him playing as a striker, you know. Guys, the games start in a couple minutes. I'm going to end my stream here. We'll be back tomorrow. Probably. Yeah, we'll probably be back tomorrow. I appreciate you guys all hanging out as always. Always a pleasure. Be sure to follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. Hopefully I got some videos coming out on YouTube as well. I did one on Lopetegui, so if you want to know what Manchester United would look like under Julian Lopetegui, you can go check that on YouTube, even though I don't think we're linked to him anymore. Follow me on TikTok as well. I've got some TikToks coming out this week as well. Yeah. See you guys all in a bit. Watch along? Nah, no watch along for me. Maybe I'll start doing watch alongs at some point, but not now. I got some stuff to do. Some important stuff to do. All right. Thank you guys all for hanging out. See you guys all later.